My name is Rebecca Goldberg. Thank y'all for having me here to talk today. I am a mushroom enthusiast, and I could go on for hours about mushrooms, but I won't hold y'all hostage that long. I'll tell y'all a little bit about myself, a little bit about my business, Circular Farm, and a little bit about mushrooms, and I'll leave some space for questions for whatever kind of questions come up. Mushrooms are a vast topic. Yeah, I grew up in Pawleys Island. My mom's a forester, my dad's a boat captain, and plants were always just like a part of life. My mom was a part of a gardening club in Pawleys, the transplants. Yeah, as they call themselves. I used to go and like probably sit at their meetings and play. A fun story about me as a little kid with plants, though, my mom got like probably 20 to 30 plants that we were from her gardening club that we were going to plant together. And I was really excited about it. And my mom must have been busy. And I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. And I went out in the garden by myself and planted every single one. And I thought she'd be so happy. And she came out and she didn't yell at me. She tried to pretend like she wasn't upset, but I could look at her face and I was like, oh, she was not happy about that. Yeah, to tell you a little bit about Circular Farm. So we are in Jackson, South Carolina, out in the country, out kind of between Aiken and Augusta. We started our business in 2017 with one shipping container. You can see that like crusty looking thing when it dropped off, but this is the same container in this picture. And now we have 3 heavily modified shipping containers that we do all of our growing in. Just some more pictures of the farm. That's my business partner, Ben. So we use waste from other industries to grow our mushrooms. We use sawdust, which is a waste product of the logging industry. We use soybean hulls and we mix them together in that little red piece of equipment and turn them into mushrooms. Those are some of the mushrooms that we grow. Those are oyster mushrooms, are the blue ones. The white ones are lion's mane, and those brown ones are piopino. So we grow fresh mushrooms. We manufacture mushroom growing supplies that we sell by the piece. So that would be like one of those right there is a mushroom fruiting kit, and we also sell them by the pallet. So we ship pallets of mushroom growing supplies to other farms, and that allows farmers to, I like to tell people, if growing mushrooms is a 10-step process, that starting there with the bag is like step 6. And there's a lot that you can do wrong before step 6. And we also engineer and sell turnkey shipping container farms that lower the barrier of entry to farming. So people get to benefit from our learning process. My business partner and I, all at the same time, learned how to grow mushrooms, sell mushrooms, turn a shipping container into a mushroom farm, and we just did a lot wrong over the years. So we let people benefit from all that. Here's some of the plants that I grow now. My fiance's family has a farm in Gilbert, and we grow like 6 different types of tomatoes, few different types of potatoes, okra, peanuts, corn. We do sweet corn and we do a red corn. Oh, I thought I had more. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, there's some of our red corn, peanuts. That's my fiance cutting some hay at the farm. There's some more of our mushrooms. Those pink ones are actually oyster mushrooms. I don't know if y'all have ever seen pink mushrooms before. Yeah, it's pretty wild. This is a little remodel that we did after Hurricane Helene. We did not have power for 3 weeks, and it was kind of scary. But we had like a remodel we really needed to do, and there's never a good time to just stop everything and gut a shipping container. But we had no idea when the power was coming back on, didn't want to lose our employees. So it was like, okay, well, let's do a remodel. And that picture down at the bottom is the end product. It was much needed. It was a lot of work, but it was much needed. This is a cool project that is definitely relevant to gardening. So you'll see that this picture here, there's like some green in the bag. That is a mold called trike. It's really good for plants. It's terrible for mushrooms. And it's one of those things that just happens in growing mushrooms. Every now and then some amount of bags, we do something wrong in those 10 steps and we wind up with trike. But The mycelium is still there. Y'all probably, because you're into gardening, know the word mycelium, but it's, it's what's under the ground. It's what produces the mushroom. The mushroom's the reproductive organ. So the mycelium is still there in the bag, but the trich's in there. We didn't want to put that in our fruiting room because it would spread the trich everywhere else. But I brought this home to my yard. I live in West Columbia, and we had a raised bed where like the plants don't really thrive. The soil there's terrible. But it's pretty shady. So I took the bag home and I buried it. You can see in the bottom corner there's the hole that I dug. I covered it up with some dirt. And, when the humidity and the temperature were right, it decided to produce mushrooms. And that first picture there, that first picture was maybe like, I want to say it was like 2 or 3 weeks after I planted it. And then the other one where they're small was, not long after that. And then this picture in the middle is 6 days after the first picture. So in that short amount of time, they got that big. So it's a pretty like low tech way. You're like, hey, I want to grow some mushrooms and don't want to buy a shipping container. This is a really, like, if you have a shady spot in your yard, there's a lot of mushrooms that you can grow this way. And it's not a surefire thing. You're just waiting for the weather to be just right. But I got 3 flushes out of this. So that's considered a flush when it grows mushrooms. So I harvested those, and then I had 2 subsequent flushes. So when it rained and the weather was just right, I got more mushrooms. And it meant that bag didn't go to waste because, we couldn't use it in our fruiting room. This is another one I did. So this bag had actually already grown mushrooms, and then it got a little bit of trich on it. So again, we just throw them out. We compost our bags at the farm. We're on a 200-acre farm, and the farmer who operates the farm uses it for compost. But so we'd already grown mushrooms on this, but it felt like it still had some life in it. This is a reishi. They're really good for you, but they taste terrible. So they're mushrooms that people would do like tinctures and extracts if they wanted to get the medicinal benefits. But yeah, we'd already grown some mushrooms with that one. I was like, hey, let me see what happens. And I got two flushes out of that. Same thing when the rain and the temperature were just right. So this kind of shows some of the, and it's not perfect, I had some trouble with my colors, but some of the uses for mushrooms that are not just eating mushrooms because they're delicious. And there's even more than what's listed here. I kind of compare it to, I feel like everyone here has probably seen the movie Forrest Gump, where Bubba's talking about boiled shrimp and baked shrimp and fried shrimp. Like that could be me with mushrooms, and I could just keep on going with all the things that mushrooms can be used for. But some of the things that people might not be familiar with, materials and textiles, they're in the orange. There's companies using mycelium to make a leather, a non-animal leather product. Hermes has been working on I think it's a belt that they're working on with the leather, and it's made from mycelium. Building materials, so you could, we have bags, people can make bricks instead, and they can be used as building materials. They're highly flame retardant. They're really good for acoustics. Packaging is another one. I think it was 10 years ago, Dell replaced their internal packaging when they ship, I think, processors. Instead of styrofoam, they have a mycelium-based product, and it's something that you could throw out in your garden, and it would help your soil. Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of really cool environmental applications. Mycoremediation is one. Mushrooms are bioaccumulators, so if there is, or fungi are bioaccumulators, so if there's fungi in the soil where there's heavy metals, they will pull them out of the soil and help clean the environment. You can also use fungi to help with oil spills. There's people that have had really great success with wildfire mitigation. So especially out west where the climate's so dry, specifically like Colorado, where they've had a lot of pine beetle, and they have all these dry, dead trees that are just hot, ready for that lightning strike. If they instead shred the trees, introduce native mycelium, they break down faster, and rather than being like a hot tinder ready to spark, it's instead a sponge that holds water. And with that, they're great for erosion control. Some agricultural uses, You could add them to animal feeds. Animals could benefit from the medicinal benefits of mushrooms, which are vast. It's another one of those Bubba Gump things where you could go on and on. People use them for, you can make paper out of fungi, sculptures. Some of the ones that are really near and dear to my heart are health and biotechnology. Health is really what sparked my interest with mushrooms. I first heard about them on a podcast in like 2016. I heard one of the owners of one of the big medicinal mushroom companies interviewed, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And maybe like a week later, I was in the grocery store and I saw the product on the shelf, and I was like, oh, well, let me try that. And I really felt like I felt a difference in my body in a really significant way. I just felt like more resilient, like I could do more. And in such a significant way that I just went way down the rabbit hole and was like, I got to learn it all. So that's really what sparked my interest. And medicinal mushrooms at this point, it's not like a woo-woo hippie thing. There's a lot of research behind it, and they can impact, diseases that I'm sure everyone in this room has been impacted by. There's a study that I like to tell people about. I think it was the University of Singapore. They had people consume like a third of a cup of mushrooms a day, and it was any type of mushrooms. It wasn't a specific type. It was any type of mushrooms, a third of a cup a day. And I should have looked up the exact numbers before I quoted this, but it's something like they reduced the chances of all cancers by like 75%. It was profound, and it wasn't any specific mushrooms. It was just all mushrooms, and I'm sure everyone has been touched by cancer. There's also a lot of research with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We get just amazing feedback from people who use specifically lion's mane. If y'all have heard about a medicinal mushroom, right now lion's mane is really trendy, so that might be one. And some of the feedback we get about lion's mane is just really wonderful. So yeah, that's the big why. And another really big exciting one is PTSD therapy. At this point, there's a lot of research behind that, using psilocybin to treat treatment-resistant PTSD, so people who have tried absolutely everything else. And it's something that the DoD is currently putting millions of dollars into researching. So that's a really exciting one too. I think oh yeah, here's a fun one. I told y'all sculptures. This was, that was a mushroom fruiting kit, and I broke it up. And it was actually really hard to break it up. I used reishi. Reishi is the mushroom that they actually use for the mushroom leathers, so the mycelium is really strong, and breaking it up is way harder than I thought it was going to be. But I just molded it around a flower pot, and I let it cure in our incubation room. I should have left it longer because it actually wound up breaking down. It lasted about a year, and then nature consumed it. But it was just a little experiment. I think that's all of it. Yeah. So if y'all have any questions about anything, I'd be happy to answer them. Well, yeah, thank you guys so much. This is a lot of fun. Yeah.